So what do you do when you feel like when you wake up you just can't go to work anymore? When work brings you the most amount of stress and you're fine until you get there. Well, what I wound up doing was going out on disability. I'm going to tell you how that went coming up. Hi, I'm Daniel, and this is Journey to Wellness. And here on this channel, I talk about ADHD in adults because, yeah, that's a thing. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my videos. So now let's jump into today's video. So I wound up going out on disability for depression twice. Once pretty soon after I met my psychiatrist. I actually went to my family doctor and talked to him and told him that a lot of my stressful feelings, and when I say stressful, I'm talking there was times that I would be sobbing at work. It was pretty bad. I mean, I wasn't fit to be at work. And so I told him about that, and he offered to put me on disability. So the first time was late 2017, early 2018. And I was off for about 3 months. That helped quite a bit. I was able to make my appointments a lot easier. I was able to focus on myself and not have to worry about work. And the times that I did break down, I wasn't at work. I was at home. I was at, a safe spot. So that was interesting. I mean, it was just weird not going to work all the time, but like I said, it was what I needed at the time. And I tell you that because you may not know that you can go on disability for depression. Now, you can't go on disability for ADHD, unfortunately. That's not recognized, but depression is. And a lot of people that have ADHD also have depression. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. You have a lifetime, especially if you were diagnosed later in life. You have a lifetime of screwing up and people telling you that you're a screw up and telling you that you would do better if you just tried harder. After a while, you start to believe it, and you become your own worst critic, and you really let yourself have it. Whenever you mess up, whenever you forget something, whenever you're late to an appointment, you put yourself through the ringer. And years of that, yeah, you're going to be depressed. So I wound up going back to work back in early 2018, and things were going good for a while. I was medicated. I had that pretty well dialed in by that time, and things were going okay until about mid-2018. A lot of the depression started coming back. A lot of the same feelings that I had while at work started coming back. The anger, the pent-up anger, and just the frustration of feeling like my life was going nowhere. So I told my psychiatrist about this. She said that if I felt like I needed it, that she would put me on disability. And so I went on disability for a second time, mid-2018 through late 2018. I took a lot of time off of work, and it did help. And during that time, we worked on different medications. She also, around this time, introduced Wellbutrin to my medications, which is kind of interesting. It is known to enhance the effects of stimulants for ADHD. While it's not exactly an ADHD treatment itself, a lot of people that have ADHD wind up going on Wellbutrin as well, because it does help and plays very well with stimulant medication. Now, also around this time, I figured now that I've got my medication pretty well dialed in, there was still to be a few more tweaks to it, but for the most part, I was getting stable on my medication. Now it was time to find a therapist. particularly someone that specializes in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is highly recommended for anyone that has ADHD, especially adults. You see, I was still having some troubles getting to work on time. My time management hadn't improved. My memory had improved, my focus had improved, but I was having trouble with time management. And that's because there's an old saying, pills don't teach skills. So while I had my chemistry in the right place, there was just forms of habits and coping mechanisms that weren't good, that were still wreaking havoc on my life. And my psychiatrist told me, well, it's time that I find a therapist. And so while I was on disability for the second time, I used that time to find one. Now this time around, it was a lot easier to find what I needed because I used the resource I told you about, psychologytoday.com. And with that, I was able to put in what I needed. So I looked for someone that specializes in ADHD, that works with adults, and that does cognitive behavioral therapy. And a couple of results pulled up. I got in contact with a couple of them, and the first one that got back with me and made an appointment with me was the therapist that I have today. And I've been seeing him now for almost a year. He's been really good, a lot better than my first therapist, and we made a lot of progress together. In fact, just recently, we switched from me seeing him once a week to seeing him every other week because we have made a lot of progress. I'm not showing as many depressive signs, and my time management has significantly improved, although it could be better. But I do want to encourage you, if you feel like you can't take this anymore, if you feel like you're at your wit's end and work is where it's stressing you out, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor about that, because they do have the ability to put you on disability for that. And sometimes getting away from it is what you need. So with state disability, you actually do get a paycheck. So you're off work, but you're not missing out on pay. And that pretty much gets you caught up with where I've been from the beginning to right about now. Now that I'm done telling my story, why don't you tell me yours down in the comments below? And now I can start getting into the meat of this channel, which is talking about ADHD and what it's actually like. So look for those videos coming up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and until next time, take care of yourself and be well.